A lot of people wonder what we do at Shorebird. We're not, interestingly enough, a HR organisation. We are dedicated towards recruitment, and that's helping organisations reduce the cost of recruitment, to recruit more efficiently, reduce the impact that recruitment agencies have on our business. And we do that through a whole host of different types of a modular type approach, understanding what you need. Whether that's attracting applicants via online recruitment campaigns, it might be job boards, social media, it might be your careers site. We help organisations then manage those applicants that come through to their business through an applicant tracking system that we've built ourselves that will then fit onto the end of your careers site, which gives you access for all your line managers and to sort of help you create a much more fluid, candidate-friendly recruitment process. Or alternatively, we can maybe offer some support where you need it. It could be you going on holiday, you might have a campaign running, you might need some extra interviews taking place, you might not have the cover in-house, or you might want something a little bit more static, whereby we take a certain edge of the recruitment off you because you haven't got the internal resources to cope with it. So why do we do the webinars? Well, ultimately, we're wanting to reach out to HR professionals like yourself. We want to add value to what you do. We want to spread the word about the changes and developments in recruitment, HR and employment law. Ultimately, we want to make, sort of our main philosophy is to make your life as easy and as much knowledge in there as possible, so that it can make the whole shouting match much more gel. If you know someone or you yourself are looking to improve the recruitment processes, then please, I hope you will get in touch with Shorebird. By all means, give me a ring on the telephone you can see on the screen for an online free demonstration of the system. Or if you just have a question that you might want to ask insofar as how you can improve or use social media or whatever it might be, then please give us a call. Okay, so enough about us, I think. Hopefully that's understanding a little bit about what we're doing and why we're here today. So big welcome to Lindsay Hanson, big drum roll. And
Thank you.
Looking forward to hearing all about it. So without further ado, welcome Lindsay, and over to you. I'll just bring up your next slide for you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Liz. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on, we call it Business Savvy HR Business Partners, so welcome. I thought I'd just start, actually, by telling you a little bit about me. So I'm going to do a little introduction to myself, and then also briefly about the company that I work for, which is called Head, Heart and Brain. Then what I'd like to cover is, or the bulk of the time, I'm going to spend talking about a global study that we did. Actually, it's 10 years ago that we did it, and we've added to the study as time's gone on, but I was quite shocked actually when I was preparing for this talk when I realised it's 10 years since we did the original study. So most of the talk is going to be about the output of that study, and the study is called A Success Profile for HR Business Partners. And then right at the end I'm going to share some information with you about a development programme that we run twice a year for HR business partners. So that's what I'm going to cover. As I go through, as Liz said, I'll sort of throw it open for questions, because you might have questions as I go through, particularly as I go through the study. And then also at the end, if you've got any questions, we can do those at the end also. Okay, so a bit about me. My background is in HR, like many of you. So I started my career in HR in financial services, and I've done, or did, a range of different roles. So I've done specialist roles, I've worked in recruitment, I've worked in development, and then I also have done what we used to call an HR generalist role, but actually it was kind of the early sort of seeds of the business partner role. And I've done some quite interesting projects. I've worked in Japan, I've worked in the States. I did an interesting project in Japan which was merging two investment banks together from an HR point of view. So going through that integration was really, really interesting. So I guess my sort of original background was in corporate HR, and then for the last 10 years I've worked as a consultant for various different consultancies. And I'm currently working for Head, Heart and Brain, hence the current slide. So we're a small leadership development consultancy, but we do a lot of work with HR teams, And I guess we like to think that we have a specialism in building HR capability, so hence the whole idea of doing the global study around business partners. And just a quick word about Head, Heart and Brain, because I know it's a bit of a weird name. The head is, I mean, I guess we called it Head, Heart and Brain because it kind of says what we do. So the head is we deal with kind of the rational content, the heart is the emotional side, and then the brain piece is neuroscience. So we've become increasingly interested in neuroscience and the findings of neuroscience and how that impacts the work we do with our clients around development. So that's kind of a very brief introduction to myself and also to Head, Heart and Brain, which is the company that I work for. So let's just move it on to the next slide, which starts to talk about the study. So I guess the first question to ask is why did we decide to kind of explore what makes great business partners? And I guess, as I said earlier, we did it probably about 10 years ago, 2004, we did the original study. And then organisations were just starting to move to the Ulrich model where you had specialists, experts, and what he called business partners or HR business partners. And at that stage, we kept getting asked by our clients, what does a business partner do? And more importantly, what does a great business partner do? What makes an exceptional business partner? And at that stage, I don't think we were really clear ourselves. So we thought, well, if we keep getting asked this question by our clients, we really ought to really understand what the answer to that question is. So hence we did the study. So what we did was we decided to identify what we called HR business partner exemplars. So HR business partners who were currently doing the role and were doing the role very well. So we asked HR line managers, well, probably HRDs, to kind of identify their best business partners. But we also made sure that the client or the customer of the business partner also said, this person, my business partner, has made a measurable difference to my business. So that was our criteria for our exemplars. And these exemplars were across different industries, so public sector, private sector. So we had some people from finance, from retail. I think we had some people from the prison service originally. So lots of different industries. And we also, we call it a global study, we also interviewed people or identified exemplars across the world. So we found some exemplars in Japan, across Europe, the US, and I think I'm right in saying Australia. So it was global and it covered different industries. And then the other thing I should say about the exemplars, they needed to have some at least 10 years experience in the HR function. So that was kind of our criteria for our exemplars. And once we'd identified those exemplars, we then interviewed them in quite some depth around what they did and what drove success in their role. So, and when I say in quite some depth, we looked at the environment, we looked at the skills, we looked at the behaviours, we looked at the attitude or the beliefs that they held, and we also looked at their purpose. So when I'm a business partner, what is my purpose? So, in quite some depth and at different levels around what drove their success. So we did that with a number of exemplars, and then we looked at the data that came out of those interviews, and what we noticed was there were a number of themes. So things kept reoccurring that the exemplars had said that drove success or helped them to be successful in the business partner role. And so those themes really build what we call the HR Business Partner Success Profile. So I'll stop there and just see whether anyone has any questions, firstly about the kind of the process that we underwent for the survey. So I don't know whether anyone's got any questions. Is that all perfectly clear?
It was a really good explanation there, Lindsay.
I hope so.
It was. You feel confident in that. Very good.
Okay, all right. So let's move on then, and I'll share with you the themes, the 5 themes that came out. And actually, before I do that, I'll share with you probably what I think is one of the most important findings from the study. What we found was that attitudes or the beliefs that people held were as important, if not more important, than the technical skills that people held. So, and I guess if you think about people that you come across in your own work environment, often it's their attitude that either makes them a poor performer or makes them an exceptional performer. And I'm sure you've all come across people who are very good technically, but because they don't have the right attitude or the right mindset, they're just not the best performer. And in fact, sometimes they can be poor performers, even though technically they're very good. So that was one of the key findings that came out of the survey, was that what the business partner believed and the attitudes that they held was more important than having being skilled technically. So I'm not saying that business partners don't need technical skills. They absolutely do. But there's almost like once you get to a certain level, the thing that makes the difference is the attitude. So you almost can have average technical skills or okay technical skills, but the thing that will make the difference is what you believe and your attitude and your mindset. So that would be probably one of the key findings. Okay, so now I'm going to share the 5 themes with you. So the 5 themes that came out of the survey as being important